Good evening. Good evening. This is Michelle Biggs, CEO of My Best Everyday Coaching and Consulting, and the host of Real Conversations with Michelle. I am so excited tonight. I have a group of my friends who are joining me for this discussion around living your dreams and the lessons learned. It was hard for me to pick people for this because I have so many people in my circle who are doing great things. But what I tried to do is select people who are doing a lot of different things with the hope that something that you hear tonight may push you into taking steps or fulfilling your own dream. And maybe you'll get some ideas just from hearing some of their stories. So I am about to introduce, or I should say, I will have them introduce themselves. And first up, I'm going to have Dr. Adea. Hey,
Hey, hey, how are you?
good, good. So tell people, what dream are you living right now?
Well, I am living the dream, actually two dreams of being an entrepreneur. One where I own a publishing house where I help people write and publish their books, really focusing on sharing their story, telling their story, how they move from tragedy to triumph, from victim to victorious, lots of children's books, things like that. Just helping people really write and publish their books. And the other dream I'm living with that I'm actually doing is through my empowerment house, where I have programs, presentations, processes that I use to help people get over it, teaching
Yeah,
people to be the best version of themselves. So two dreams, one person, great life.
yeah, and you are doing it. You are doing it.
Yeah, I
Next,
am.
I have Mr. Ty McDuffie. Hey, Ty. Ty, go off audio. Go off mute.
Hi, Michelle. How are you
Hey,
doing?
bro.
Sorry about that.
I'm good. I'm good. How about you?
I'm doing well. Thank you.
Good.
So,
Tell people the dream you're living right now.
absolutely. So, like the good doc, I actually have two things that I'm working on now, living two dreams. The first one is definitely the best in outdoor entertainment. We actually do backyard movie nights, things of that nature. The other one is called Space and Time. That's Space N-T-H-Y-M-E. We actually empower restaurant owners to monetize their downtime by matching them with people that want to start or grow their food-based businesses so they can rent that downtime. So we help restaurateurs turn their restaurants into what's called shared kitchens and then get them customers to rent that time.
Mm-hmm. Good stuff. Next, I
Thank you.
have Ms. Allison Perry. Hey,
Hello.
Alice.
Hey everyone, how are you all doing? Let's see. I'm Allison Perry, and I, for the past 12 years, have owned a brick and mortar stationery shop in Morrisville, North Carolina, called Cute Buttons Gift and Paper Boutique. And we do stationery, wedding invitations, party invitations, and retail gifts. So we have opened the doors in 2008. So that's what I do, own a retail store.
Yeah,
Retail store.
yeah, and doing something different, in terms
Yes,
of that shop, because you don't see many people of color who are doing what you're doing. So I'm
that
proud
is
of it.
correct. Yes.
Yeah. Next, I have Mr. Daryl Washington. Hey, Daryl.
Hey, how you all doing?
Good, good. Talk about the dream you're living. And I know you're living a couple of dreams right now.
Oh man, don't call me Manny either. Right? But
I know
yeah,
that's our secret. Go ahead.
so I'm actually living two dreams. I have a what's called Front and Back Nine Junior Golf Academy here in the Triangle area. So we actually educate young adults how to play the game of golf, and we actually transition to actually doing adult golf lessons as well. We also do events here in the Triangle, from tournaments to swing sip event that we have on, I guess, every other month. And so that's going really well. And my second dream, I'm actually an aspiring actor. So I've done over 30 to 35 national and local commercials. So you probably see me on your TV screen, and I also did a big audition for a TV series that's coming up in 2 months. So hopefully I will get that role. So that's
Yeah,
the two dreams that I'm living.
that's right. Praying for you too.
Thank you.
Next, I have up Miss Rochelle Reagan. Hey, Rochelle.
Hey y'all, how you doing?
Good, good. Talk about the dream you're living.
Man, I've done this dream. This is my second go round, and This time it's finally sticking. The name of my company is RC Consultants, and I specialize in healthcare recruitment, from physicians to nurses, to healthcare administrators. So, like I told Michelle, it's the second go round. It's probably the best thing I've ever done, and I'm really excited about what I'm doing right now.
Yeah, and we'll talk about your lessons learned.
Mm,
I think all of us have some that we have
Mhm.
learned along the way that we
right.
share with people. So next up, I have Jeff Drew. Hey, Jeff.
Good evening, good evening, everyone. My name is Jeff Drew. I have one dream that I dreamt for myself, and two other endeavors that turned into dreams that were given to me, which I'll explain later on. But I'm a retired New York City correction officer and criminal investigator for 23 years. Um, my personal dream, was to live a retired life, which I'm doing, and I'll explain the other two going later on in the evening.
Yeah, thank you, Jeff. And next, I have a dynamic duo who have partnered together, Angela and Mindy. Talk about your dream, ladies.
Hey
Yeah.
everybody, we're living the filmmaker's dream. Angela and I co-produced a film called Choice Not Chance, and we're still living out that dream.
That's right. And we'll talk about some of the good things. We'll put it in the atmosphere that you guys are also looking into. So I'm gonna start us off with the first question. What was the catalyst that pushed you to follow your dream? So what was it that occurred that pushed you towards planning and living your dream? So I'm gonna start off with Ty. And if everybody else can go on mute while each person is talking, that would be great. All right, Ty.
Gotcha. So no, thanks, Michelle. No pressure in going first. Thanks. I appreciate that.
Yeah, I love
So I think for me, the catalyst for me to decide to actually take the leap was, it's a long going story, but I'm gonna give the condensed version. I was laid off at a company many years ago, and I kind of felt a little salty about it. So I decided at that point in time that I would never allow myself to be at another person's whim or to hold my family hostage. So what I did was I took the severance package they gave me. I went out, I bought I think it was an iBook G4 at the time. I learned Adobe Illustrator, Adobe InDesign, a bunch of Adobe products. And I started copying ads and stuff that I would see in magazines and offering that same service to just small business owners in the area, saying, hey, I can make this ad like you see at Colgate, and I can do it for your company. So in a nutshell, it was just the feeling of powerlessness and not being in control of my own destiny that got me going.
and I hear that a lot through coaching people.
Mhm.
Dr. Adea, how about yourself?
So for me, in terms of creating my publishing company, I kind of fell into that. I come from a family of writers. My dad was a journalist. Some people sing and dance. Some families, we write in our family. So I've always been gifted with the ability to write and write well. So when I wrote my first book and I realized how my words touch the hearts and spirits of people, I knew that continuing to write and sharing my ideas and sharing my faith and sharing just my wisdom could make a difference. I knew that it was something I wanted to pursue full time. So at that point, I was a school counselor. I was able to retire early and then pursue writing full time. But along the way, everyone kept asking me, how do you write a book? How do you write a book? So I invested in taking master classes to learn not only how to write a book better, but how to run a business as a publishing house. So it kind of fell into my lap, but it's what I had been doing my entire life anyway, writing. And then my empowerment house is an extension of my school counseling position, except for I do it on my own terms in my own way. So I still motivate, empower, and inspire kids through my writing and through workshops and through things that I think that are important to them that I used to do when they were in high school and middle school, but now I do it on my own terms. So I kind of fell into it, but not.
Yeah. Thanks, Dr. Adea. Jeff, let's hear your story.
Well, as I stated previously, my first dream was to retire with a pension with benefits, and I did that. That was the easy part. Well, I thought I was done. And one thing I've learned through this whole process, never say never, particularly if God's in your life. So I was in church one day and this voice came into my head and told me, I want you to go back to school. Well, I already have my undergrad from John Jay College. Why am I going back to school? So I ran from the Lord for a while. Eventually, I surrendered, went to seminary, got my master's and master's of divinity, as well as Christian ministries. And I said I was done then too. All I was going to do is bring that information back to the church and help build my church. No, he said, no, I'm not done with you. So I was called back to pursue my doctorate. So I'm 2 years in right now. My doctorate, my cohort is faith, work, and economics, and basically is bringing ministry to the marketplace, which I can go to a long spiel about that, but I won't. So the catalyst for me was the Lord, and reflecting back at all the things I survived in my profession. I survived shooting, stabbing, so many things. So how could I turn around and say no? And by my side was my wife at that time for 33 years. And I realized what she's been through with me. So how could I say no to him for blessing me and having to still stand by my side? So that was the catalyst. That's the reason why I'm still in this thing. And let's see what he does next in my life.
I know. And you definitely blessed us, right, Adea, with his with all the things that you're doing. We talk about that later. Miss Rochelle, what pushed you? What was the catalyst for you?
So it was twofold. I, being a woman of color, there are not many that were working at the time because I've been in the industry probably 20 years. So I was always a little disenfranchised with it. And the second thing was I was always the top producer. I probably brought in about $5 to $7 million a year. And when I looked at what I was getting, I was like, this isn't going to work. It wasn't
Yeah,
matching up for me. So, you talk to your boss, you're like, look, just give me 10% of what I'm doing. And they tell you no. You know you're doing something right, but you have to like get rid of those golden handcuffs and just kind of take a leap of faith and step out on your own
yeah,
because it's a lot.
it is. It is. And like you said, when you know you're good at what you're doing,
Yeah.
yeah. Miss Allison, how about you?
All right. For me, there wasn't like a catalyst per se. I think I always say I was crazy enough to think I can open up a brick and mortar store.
Yeah,
Like the doctor, I'm a writer too. I have a master's in journalism, a former newspaper reporter. And my grandmother was a librarian at a black college growing up as well. So I always loved writing. I always loved paper. I always loved authors. So stationery just came natural to me. And I just, over the years, said I really wanted to try and open a store. So mine was not like an overnight thing. I would say I did about 6 to 8 months of research. I had a full-time job then before I quit to open the store. So it wasn't like a calling one day sitting. Most time when you open up a brick and mortar operation, it is not like one day you're going to wake up and do it. You have to do some preparation. So mine was a little different in that sense, that I just said, it's time. I'm going to quit my job. But I didn't quit that day. I made preparations to
yeah.
quit. And then I opened the
And we'll
store.
talk about that in a minute. We'll talk about that. Daryl, how about you?
Oh, well, so twofold. So the Front and Back Nine Junior Golf Academy started, actually, I was mentored by someone else that had a golf academy here in Raleigh, North Carolina, but he didn't actually put no energy into it. And he kind of like told me to take it over. And I actually formulated my own entity, which is Front and Back Nine Junior Golf Academy. So it started like 2 years ago. And now we had over 125 kids that came to our program. And that's how pretty much it started. And it also started because I like the game of golf and I started teaching. So now I teach not only juniors, but also teach adults as well. So it catapulted to that. And we have some of the most biggest tournaments here in the Triangle area. Even during COVID, we had over 200 participants this past June. So the golf, and if you know, I don't know if you follow golf or not, but it's one of the only entities that was actually open during COVID. So it actually worked out for us in a big way. And so we went from going from outdoors to now we indoors at Wake Forest at the factory now. And so for my acting, I just took like everyone said, like Todd said earlier, just took that leap of faith. I had a acting coach, and before you know, I had an agent, and then like a week later, I was in commercials, and I've been in, like I said earlier, national and local commercials ever since. And I've done theater as well. So I'm just living the dream. I'm just a regular kid from Brooklyn, New York, just living it up.
Woo woo.
So if you know that, what you know, that means that we all stay dreaming, not just because we're from New York, but it's just one of those things where we just keep it going. So I'm just living and enjoying the dream here in North Carolina.
Yeah.
And I appreciate you all, inviting me, Michelle, to let you experience things I've been going through. So
yeah, well, all of you guys have been a great support to me over the years, and I've been inspired by you. So I want others to be inspired by you as well.
Thank you.
Mindy and Angela, the dynamic duo. Let's talk about your dream and what pushed you guys there. You're on mute, Mindy.
I said, Angela, I'm gonna let you answer this one.
Well, I have two dreams. So actually, I'm an entrepreneur as well. I quit my job after 20 years locally at TV station and started my own virtual and personal assistant business. So I have that as well. But my real passion is the work that Minnie and I do for Choice Not Chance, which is our film that we did. And from that, we did a conference which went on for 3 years. And from that, we did workshops, and it's grown and it's elevated. But it's just, I got involved with mentoring through Body of Christ Church, a program that Mindy started where we mentored girls. Did that for a few years, but Minnie and I both have sons. And we saw there was something going on with Black young men that we had a really concern for. And we didn't have the answers. So we decided to put this documentary together. Actually, it was just us initially, like, let's get them in a room, let's talk. And then it grew into something bigger. And
it really started from a question that we had. And that question was, what in the world is going on? And me and Angela both, like she said, we mentored girls under the leadership of Michelle at the time. And we did that for a long time. And then both our sons were becoming men. And we were just noticing that there were so many issues happening between them and their friends. And we really didn't understand why. And we wanted to help them, but we didn't want to assume that we knew the answer. So we wanted them to speak their own truths. And so we put them on a panel, and we filmed it. And that became the Choice Not Chance documentary.
Yeah. And it's so like you all, for me, I've always been involved with mentoring others, right? When I think back at my over the years, and as Mindy and Angela said, started out leading a mentoring program for high school girls, and we did that for 10 years. Also, women's ministry. And Ty, your daughter was in our program. Rochelle was a partner in that program. So I always had the heart to help others. And as a senior HR professional, I coach leaders every day. That's what I do, right? So it was just, I think for me, the catalyst for me to really step out and do more was my divorce. Right? Went through my divorce, and I really had a heart for wanting to help others kind of transition through that period, right? So that's when I became a life coach, right? Because I know the career stuff, I know the HR stuff, but the life coaching piece, for me, I knew I've been through a lot, and I felt like I could really give back to others. So that's what catapulted me to start the life coaching business. And then this year through COVID, so many things have happened. I think we all have been still. I think every one of you that I've talked to, we had a period of stillness, and we have been thinking and being creative this whole year of other stuff we can be doing this year, point of stillness, right? So I heard many of you say that you were working full time when you started, right? Some of you started, and then others who, retired or stopped, and then things happened. What was the key to your success in terms of starting your business or starting the endeavors that you were doing? And what were your lessons learned? So I'm going to start with Jeff first.
For me, it was something that I've always struggled with, and that's simply obedience. I've always been one to want to do my own thing. I've always been solo, and I've always been a person that I don't know. It was just something that I felt that I had to do, and I did it. But it was because of obedience I was able to overcome so much throughout that journey to this point. Father passing, mother's passing, and bankruptcy, and so much going on. And through all of that, I was never alone. We were never alone. And that testimony empowers me to just keep on going. It empowers me to speak to other people when I have that sensitivity that they're going through something, just to tell them just to hang on, just to hang on, just to hang on. Because the gospel is real. The gospel is not just a Sunday thing. It's a Wednesday thing when all hell's breaking loose. It's a Friday thing, a Friday night when you're lonely, and it's a weekly thing when you're mad and arguing with your wife. It's a gospel. The gospel is real and relevant. And it took me to get to the point to accept that and live into that and be open to just be led by it. And I was able to succeed, or at least make it to this point with my sanity, particularly in this COVID situation.
Yeah.
Because self-care is a real thing. And you can't care for yourself without spiritually caring for yourself. That's it for me.
Yeah. Thank you, Jeff. Mindy and Angela, you next. What were key to your success and your lessons learned?
So for me, I learned that purpose can drive you to accomplish anything. And I also learned that I can do anything working a full-time job, still raising my son, and persevere no matter what, that I can multitask. I believed in myself, and I didn't let anything stop me.
Yeah. Thanks, Angela. How about you, Mindy?
Well, I definitely believe that God led us to do this. He put a passion for young African American men within both me and Angela. He put us together as friends, and I think he just led us and guided us. And one thing that I'll say to people too is I think that some people think of their dream as being this humongous task, and because it's so big that they don't really even just get started, and I would say to those people, just do the next thing.
Yeah.
Just do the next thing. You don't have to do the next 10 things. You don't have to think about that. Just do the next thing, because if it's something that God ordained in your life, He's going to bring it to pass.
Yeah.
But you have to take that step. And one thing I love about Angela is she asks questions that I would not ask. So she asked the local television studio, can we film here? Can you allow us to do a panel here? And they said yes. And I was scared to death after that. But they said yes. And she's always been like that. She just asks questions. Just ask questions.
Yeah.
People are more than willing to help you, but they have to know that you want the help.
Yeah.
And Mindy, can I add something, Michelle? Also, Mindy and I knew this was God ordained because we had talked about this like years ago.
For years.
I mean,
years. Yeah.
And we didn't have a game plan. We went from back to front. We just figured it out along the way. Had no money, asked for money, the money came.
Yes.
It just like it was piecemealed all together. So that's why we know that God said, you guys are going to make this happen. And everything fell into place. And Minnie and I we worked like all these long, crazy hours, stayed up all night in the studio doing transcripts, and went to work the next day. Like midnight to 6 a.m. doing a transcript of everything that we videotaped. And so it was like, God was like, I'm going to have everything laid out for you. Just take one step, like Mindy said, take one step, put one step in front of the other. and then everything unfolded for us.
I know I'm a true believer, and I feel the same way. It's like when if you try to look at it, look at the big picture, it can get scary, right? It can really scare you. And typically when I'm coaching people, I'm like, just think about this in small increments, right? Because if you think about it too big, it can actually halt you and freeze you from moving forward, right? So, and I do believe, when things line up, you know it's ordained, right? I mean, I think most of us have felt that, right? I feel like when every step just starts to fall into place, that's when you know it's good. So, Miss Allison, how about you? Key to your success and your lesson learned.
Let's see. I would say, just like everybody on the panel, I definitely believe in ordained steps. I believe God tells us stuff. But when you're in charge of other people's salaries, brick and mortar, y'all, it's a little different. It's easy to say, and I'm not diminishing anything anybody's saying. Things fall into place. Money came. It doesn't always happen when you own a brick and mortar. It is so different.
Yeah.
I quit an $80,000 job. I wasn't married. I'm married now, to open a store because I knew I couldn't work a job. Some jobs, you guys, a lot of people are fortunate they can work a job and do their business. You can't do that if you're going to open a brick and mortar. And the reason I keep harping on that, because I really want people to understand that it's not just like an online store that you're doing at night, or what do they call it? Middle level marketing, Mary Kay and all those where women have done fabulous and stuff. It's a little different ball game.
Yeah.
Also, when you talk about too, Michelle, taking things in increments, which is totally good. So I'm gonna be a little bit of a naysayer. You have to think through 30 things at one time.
Yeah, you definitely have to plan.
That's right.
Yeah.
Payroll. How am I going to pay the bills? I got to order inventory. I've got to get marketing. So you have several things, and you can't say, I'm going to stop working on this and then only work on one piece. It doesn't work that way when you own and I don't own a piece of property. I'm leasing, obviously. When you're having something tangible like that. And like I said, I'm not saying anything about anybody else that has something that's not. It's a different ball game.
It's a different model.
Yeah. So for me, going to Wake Tech Community College at night when I'm tired and they're teaching, by the way, y'all, Wake Tech, and I'm sure in other places, they all do these free classes. They do free classes on accounting, bookkeeping, marketing, go to as many things. I had to learn because I love stationery, I love paper, but what I didn't know was the business side. Right. And my boyfriend at the time, who's my husband, who all know, Reggie, used to say to me, you think because you open a store, people just going to come in? And of course you think that. It doesn't work that way. And so you have to be prepared to work like nobody's business. And so again, I'm not always trying to be the one, but I'm just trying to be real here. That it is a different mindset. And then eventually I was a solo person, but after a while you have to start hiring people because you can't work a store by yourself. You are like, I have a business coach, he used to remind me, you're creating jobs. So they got to get paid before you do. Things have to happen before you do. So you have to be prepared to juggle several things at once. And the key to success, making tons of mistakes, wasting tons of money, being scared a lot, but still excited at the same time, passionate, happy, all in one, and willing to keep going. But you have to do your research, and you have to be willing to perfect your craft. Because if you're not willing to put that time and stuff into it, don't fool with it. Yeah. So that's really what I would say to people. It depends on what type of business you're doing. And a lot of people are starting businesses with COVID, and I think it's wonderful. Some businesses require a lot of attention, some don't. So figure out what you want to do and really put the time and attention. And I just tell people, if you don't have that time and attention, find things that don't require that much, because all businesses are not equal and all businesses don't require that. And some people want to go, I don't really want to do a lot and give up Saturdays and not be around and hang out with friends. I lost friends because I had to do stuff at the store a lot, miss Hampton homecomings a lot because I had to be Saturday. If you're not willing to do a lot of those things, leave it alone. So that's what I'm just giving people the real.
Well, that's what I want. And look, and these are my real friends. If anybody want to keep it real, it's all of y'all.
Yes.
I know that. And I want to reemphasize, because you talked about the planning piece of it. You know, the financial side, I had Tanita on last month, and the financial piece is real. If you cannot figure out sort of your budget, your overhead, and take all that into account. I mean, that piece is how you're going to get financing, right? And
reading QuickBooks. You need to learn cash flow, your P&L statement. If you don't know how to do it, y'all, there's so many resources to ask. I would probably say the majority of stuff I didn't know how to do. I really didn't. Because like I said, I know pretty paper, but pretty paper is not a reason a store can stay afloat. You have to. I had to learn how to outsource. That's nothing. Outsource what you can. You know, what you can't do if you can afford it. Barter with people. You can't do everything, but you have to be juggling several balls in the air. It's like a fellow store owner told me, owning owning a business is like an app in your head you never can shut down. Y'all, we think, eat, sleep this all the time. You don't get to go home and just shut it down. It's constant running in the background. And you just got to be okay with that.
Yeah. Thanks, Allison. Michelle is another one who has to deal with people's lives and their payroll. What did lessons learn, your key to success? And talk about your lesson. You said this is your second time doing this, so.
Yes. My key to success was failure. The first time out, I thought I was Betty Bad, but knew everything. I'm gonna do this by myself. I went out there, I didn't know anything. So I shut it down, went back to work, and it kept nagging at me like, there's something you need to be doing. So finally, I did it a second go round. I took my time. I surrounded myself with people that supported me because your family and your friends aren't always going to support you. So you have to have a group of people that support you. You and Allison, Michelle, are two people that really know what goes on. And, I talk to you guys. I understand the financial part because my mentor was the CEO of one of the largest staffing companies in the US. So she taught me about P&L and all the rest. I sleep, eat, and dream this every day. I wake up, I try to figure out what I need to do, how many people, because people look at you, do you have a job for me? Do you have a job? And that's really, really hard. But I would say the key to my success is the support that I have from the people that I surround myself with, and failure. And also, I am not afraid to keep at it and to try and to improve and to get it better. It's never going to be enough. I'll probably be doing this till I got one foot in the grave, but it's what I love. So I'm going to work at perfecting
that
it until
support
I
piece
can't
that you
anymore.
mentioned is critical. Having the right people around you.
Yeah.
Right. Everybody's not going to believe in your dream. Right. And I have been blessed to have great people by my side and people praying for me. I don't want to tear up, but I have just being around the right people, right? Is great. You want people who are going to support you, right? McDuffie. And I love Ty, and I brought Ty on because let me tell you, Ty is the hardest working man that I know. He's tried a lot of different things, and doing a lot of different things. And the one thing I can say about you, Ty, my years of knowing you, your creative mind is just, it's just out of this world. So talk about your lessons learned, key to your success and your lessons.
Okay. I think the keys to my success thus far, well, let me backtrack. So I, unlike a lot of you guys, are from a small town it's called Wallace, North Carolina, population of like 5. Just kidding. It's maybe 6. But so when you grow up in a country town, there's certain attitudes that are prevalent there that get put into the people that come from that town. And one of those things is modesty, right? And so for me, one of the keys to my success was kind of overcoming what that attitude of having to be modest and always having to be polite and always having to work within a certain range, to actually accept my strengths, accept my gifts, and not be ashamed of them. It's nothing to be ashamed of. If, it's like most of my life, when people would call me smart or creative, I would often come back with, it's not all that. It's okay. I'm every now and then I get something right. But when I eventually learned to accept that and to work in it, it helped me to go into situations that I normally wouldn't be able to. For instance, I've met with a friend of mine now that I met in a networking event. He owns this company now called K4 Connect, but his company, that one of his companies that he founded, invented the fingerprint scanner that eventually went into Apple products. And so by being able to not be as modest, you can still be humble, but not be overly modest, or not be humble to a point where it cripples you. So, being able to go up to people like that, millionaires and networking events, and say, hey, my name is Ty, this is what I do, is one of the keys to my success. As far as one of my lessons learned, and I want to make sure Jeff is muted here so he doesn't correct me on this, because I'm probably going to butcher this verse. But there's a Bible verse that says, it talks about putting pearls before swine. And what I learned, one of the lessons I learned with that is, you don't have to not everybody's going to be a visionary. Not everybody's going to understand your vision. So you have to understand and realize there's certain people you can share your vision with, that even if they don't understand it, they might be able to see it. Whereas others they're not equipped to see your vision. Somebody once told me, he was like, there's certain people that are queen bees, and you have worker bees. The worker bees don't necessarily know, what the queen bee is seeing and what she's, thinking of doing. So that's one of the biggest lessons I learned. You don't have to always get validation for your ideas from someone else. You can, but you don't have to, because you can find yourself in a situation of paralysis by analysis, when you're having to go to one person. Well, what do you think about this? And and then you go to another person. Well, I don't believe what the first person said, so now I have to go get another set of validations for it. So I think that was one of the biggest lessons that I've learned.
Thank you, Ty. Daryl, did I ask you this question?
No, I don't think so. No.
Okay.
I can't go behind everybody. These some great questions. I mean, man. But I can kind of piggyback on what everyone was saying, especially Rachel and I guess it was Allison Perry.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. I don't have a brick and mortar, so I'm trying to get there, but I don't have one, right? But the key to my success was surrounding myself with people that were just smarter than me. I remember working at the bank. I was at Wells Fargo. And I knew I couldn't do which is this logo right here. Which one is this side here? I don't know. Right?
Uh-huh.
So my logo is now trademarked, right? So
we
went through the whole process and got a trademark. But I remember when it first started, it was just a dream. So I had a guy actually do our logo for us. And before you know it, it became it was a logo, then became a business, and then we had the first kids, and now it's just catapulted to something spectacular. But it actually started just by a simple logo at Wells Fargo at my desk, because I was bored one day and I was like, you know what? I don't want to keep working for someone else. I want to use my talents to sales and marketing for my own. So how can I do something for myself? And I put golf and my talents of networking, marketing, sales, because I can sell anything pretty much. Like my family would know. I can sell. If I believe in it, I can sell it. So I said, well, instead of using my talents for Wells Fargo or some of the other companies I work for, I use my talents for my own business. And like I said, I use my talents and I surround myself with people that have their own talents and can actually help me with my vision. When I first started, I wanted my friends to be a part of it. And I learned a lesson that I think someone said earlier, you can't have all your friends and your family in your business. And I'm the type of person, I wanted to bring them along. And they didn't have the capacity or the vision to see where the academy was going. And once they saw what was going, it was too late, because we actually rolled them off the business. Right. And seeing the good things that's happening, that the vision that I saw a long time ago, because I knew God instilled it in me that you were going to be successful with this. Just use your abilities and your gift that I gave you, and you have no worries. Not saying you don't have no worries at all, because I definitely sometimes have, the dreams, and sometimes be like, I'm about to quit. But I know I can't make any type of excuses, because I got to keep going. And we don't make excuses.
No. So. Excuses are tools. I know there's a couple of us.
Yeah.
A couple of us can repeat that.
Excuses and build monuments of what? Nothingness.
And what you know about that?
We'll talk about that in a minute. Oh Lord, now we're gonna talk the Greek fast.
So, you know.
But yeah, I mean, and that, man, I'm gonna call you man, Daryl. You're right about that in terms of people being able to walk with you in your dreams, right? And sometimes I know sometimes you can get discouraged,
Yeah.
right? I know one of the lessons learned. I have a coach now, but one of my lessons learned was to keep moving, right? Because a lot of times I found myself, I would stop and I would get discouraged, and I'm like, okay, I know I can do this. And I think the other thing is not to compare yourself with others who are doing what you're doing what you want to do, right? And just to be yourself. I mean, people who are going to support you are going to support you. And if they're not going to support you, keep moving, right? That's one of the things that I've learned. Yeah.
Can I say something behind that?
Yeah.
The ones that you think is going to support you may not support you, but guess what? You will get open. It will open up doors to people that you would never know that's going to support you. I meet so many different people. I got a chance to play golf with Chris Childs of New York Knicks. I don't know if y'all Knicks fans or not, but I got a chance to play with him down in Florida. And, you know, he got on the phone with Charles Oakley, and then I got a chance to speak with him. And it was just opening up doors to people I probably never had met.
Right.
So those that sometimes you feel that's going to support you, hey, they just gotta, you gotta kind of leave them where they are and keep it moving, right?
Yeah. Cool. So one thing you would do differently if you had to do it all over again.
Is that to me?
Yeah. Why don't you start it off, and I'll get somebody else in a minute.
Oh man, what do I do over again? Oh man, when I first started with the Golf Academy, I actually had people that was a part of it that actually stole from me. So I guess I would do that over again. Yeah, I gave them money to do something because Allison said earlier, I resourced something that I knew I wasn't able to do, and this person actually took my money, so I learned a valuable lesson.
Right.
So
pick the right people in your circle. Get the right people in your circle.
Exactly. Get the right people in your circle and learn how to do it for yourself sometimes.
Yeah.
You got the internet, you can research and do things, and you can take a lesson on how to do your books or your finances right online. Right. So I had to take the time out to do it for ourselves. And also too, like when we got our logo trademarked and our company trademarked now, that was a process that we learned. So we could teach others, but it was right online because sometimes people just don't want to do it themselves. You know, it'd be right there in front of them, but they don't sometimes have the time to do it, or they may not have the capacity to do it, or they just don't want to do it at all.
Yeah. In this day and age of the internet, there's no reason any of us should not have at least a starting view of how to at least start something. You might still have to pull somebody in to pull it through, but we can't be ignorant with the internet. We just can't. Dr. Adaya, how about you? One thing you would do differently if you had to do it all over again?
So you skipped over me for the last question, but I'm going to answer it anyway.
Go ahead. You answer both. Go ahead, Dr. Adaya.
Okay.
So go ahead.
Okay. So I wanted to go back to that question because something that Jeff said, Jeff always be getting in my head, but he said that he was not obedient. And I thought about that when you talk about what are some of the keys to your success, because I've been the opposite. I've been obedient, I feel like my entire life. Like from the time I was a little girl, I knew God was speaking to me and told me what to do, not necessarily always how to do it. And I've always followed through whatever was placed in my head and my heart. I've always followed those steps. And when you have that confidence that you just listening to what God tells you to do, even as a little girl, I could have told you I was going to be a writer and educator. I went straight through school, to earn my doctorate. I didn't get breaks or anything because God spoke to me a long time ago. But when you have that confidence, and you're running your business, I know what Allison said about brick and mortar, but mine is online. When you have that confidence, you don't worry about how things are going to be done. I mean, you worry about it, but you know it's going to be okay. Yeah. Because in my mind, God wouldn't put this dream in this situation and put me in this place if things were not going to be okay. He didn't say it was going to be easy, but you know it's going to be okay. So part of my success is being able to be patient, number one, because things don't happen overnight, and always remaining positive. If you knew that how much you own the power of positivity, how you own the power of change, that can change your whole perspective. So being patient and being positive and liking yourself too, because I spent a whole lot of time with myself. And if I didn't like myself, I'd be hella mad, and I'd be one, sorry puppy, because me in this office, we spend all day together. So those are some of the keys, I think, just really being obedient, like Jeff said. And I feel fortunate to have been able to heard God speaking to me as a child. And then also being patient and being positive. So that was my answer to the other question. Now, what's the question you asking now?
Yeah, here we go. So one thing you do differently if you had to do it all over again?
I don't think there would be anything that I would do differently, only because I'm a firm believer and my steps have already been ordered. And the path that I travel on is the one that has already been created for me. And that includes the good, the bad, and the ugly. So even the poor decisions, I wouldn't have learned what I learned if I didn't make those decisions. Now, there are things I wish had not happened, like the lady who was supposed to be marketing my site and I paid her $6,000 and she absconded with my money. I wish that had not have happened, but I wouldn't have learned how to call PayPal and file, the complaints or whatever it is to get my money back. I wouldn't have known how to do that. So you see what I'm saying? So to answer that question, I don't think I would change anything. I don't like everything, but my steps were ordered, and I was supposed to go through whatever I've gone through.
Yeah, I'm a true believer that everything happens for a reason. And what I'm hearing you and Daryl is that those mistakes taught you to do things differently. And if that's the lesson and helps you do things better, then hey, it is what it is. How about anyone else want to answer the question? Like one thing you would do differently if you had to do it all over again? Mindy, Angela, how about you?
I really, it was a total learning experience for me and Angela. It was, we did not have a clue. We just tried.
We sure didn't.
We just tried to do, the best that we could. Some of the things that we went through, I feel created a testimony in us, because we didn't know what we were doing. God was just placing us in situations where we would meet the right people and things would happen for us.
Relationship building. We built a lot of relationships.
Oh yeah, we did. And so the only thing I would say is,
We built a lot of relationships.
as far as making a film, if we had like a mentor, because with film festivals and things like that, we really did not know what we were doing. We didn't know the money. We didn't understand the post-production costs that we had. I mean, when you go to a film festival, unless you have a great film festival like the North Carolina Black Film Festival, they housed us and fed us and things like that. But other film festivals, they usually don't. So you have to have that money and, everything to put up there. But if we had a mentor, who had made films, we could have learned that. So I think people need to really look at people in their particular field who are already successful at doing what they want to do and get a mentor.
Yeah.
Do you guys have a mentor now that you're working with? Now that you know that was a gap that's missing, have you filled that gap?
Oh yeah.
Yes. In a big way.
Yes, we have.
Yeah, we have.
Yeah, they woo. Yeah. We'll talk about that in a minute. How about anybody else? One thing you would do differently, Jeff?
Yeah, I would say I would stop trying to outrun God. How can I outrun somebody who's already in front of me?
Yeah.
I've learned that, and to Ty's point, well, that scripture is Matthew 7:6, by the way, Ty. So,
That's our minister. That's our minister. That's our Sunday minister. Go ahead, Jeff.
There was mention about steps, and that just brought me back to a scripture when it said the gospel is like a lamp to our feet. If you think about a lamp to your feet, you can only see but so far in front of you. So there has to be a level of trust. You will only take that one step at a time because you can't see beyond that point. So you have to make a decision whether or not you're going to trust them. And for everyone I hear on this line, they trusted him, and that's why they are where they are. Now they may have stumbled and gone a long way, but as we've heard previously, that is a piece of the journey. I mean, it's like having a pastor that never went through anything. Why would you want a pastor to teach you? He never experienced life. Everything's been perfect for him. You know what I mean? You have those mistakes are just as valuable as your successes.
Yeah. Thank you, Jeff.
And for me, that running, I'm tired, man. I'm tired. You can't outrun God. You'll just be exhausted.
Yeah. Yeah. Who didn't answer a question? Michelle, did you answer that question? One thing you would do differently? Did I ask you that?
No, I didn't answer it, but I just think
Do you
for
have anything?
me, it's all about planning. For me, it's about planning because that's the way my brain works. But the one thing that everyone said that I agree with is just trusting God, because now I don't mind getting up. You know what I'm saying? I'm passionate about it. But the one thing that I didn't do before now that I do a better job of is planning. And I don't mean like planning the next day. I'm talking about planning 6 months to a year out.
Yeah, and that is huge. And that was a big lesson for me. And I think, as I thought about what I wanted to do, because you guys know, I secured my LLC back in 2017 and really didn't do anything with it. One was because I was already doing coaching at work. So I tried to take what I learned and kind of apply it day to day. But this year being quiet, it was just like, okay, Michelle, I know I don't want to be in corporate America. I definitely don't want to be 70 years old and be working in corporate America, right? And I want to do things on my own. And it really was in that silence that I was able to really sit down and plot out the things that I wanted to do. I'm already 6 months into 2021 already. I got things lined up already. Don't know whether or not, how it's going to come to play, but I think you need that quiet time to do just that. Right. And I know many of you are already working on things as well. So advice for pursuing for pursuing dreams. What advice would you give to others about pursuing their dreams? Ty, because I don't think I got you with the last question. So you can add something like Dr. Sarah. Go ahead, say what you want to say. Go ahead,
yeah, I was trying.
Go ahead.
Yeah, I was gonna sneak under the radar, but anyway, I will go back to the thing. One thing I would do differently, because I think it's actually kind of important, and people can learn from my very bad experience. So, as you mentioned, I've had several startups, and in one of them, we were starting to get some traction. We were actually mentioned in an article in Forbes magazine, like 7 minority-led companies in education technology or what have you, and to kind of piggyback on Daryl's point, I didn't learn the stuff that I needed to learn in order to be able to be sufficient on my own with it, because it was a very technology-driven startup. And so the partner that I had that could do the development, he actually bailed. I don't know where he went to this day. I've never been able to reach him since. So we were getting all this press, all these interviews, people from other countries were calling us about the model or reaching out to me about the model, and I couldn't do anything with it. So with that, the one thing I would do differently is vet whoever you bring on board very, very carefully, and understand that just because they might augment the skill set that you have might not indicate, this is kind of different, but just because they can augment your weaknesses doesn't mean they're going to be a good fit. Because in another startup, I actually bought some people on and we just didn't mesh well. And the other people didn't have the same drive and determination to see it through to the end that I did. And so I wound up burning myself out trying to do my responsibilities as well as somebody else's. So that's what I would say as far as what I would do differently.
Yeah.
For the advice, my first bit of advice is don't feed the haters. You're going to run into people that are going to doubt you. You're going to run into people that are going to try and talk you out of it. Don't pay them any attention. Don't do it. Don't argue with them about it. Don't try to convince them of your vision. They just might not be able to see the vision.
Yeah.
And the other part is network. Networking is so incredibly useful and needed. And you can't be afraid to make yourself uncomfortable. And in all reality, I'm an extremely shy person, but I have to go out there and meet people and force myself into conversation sometimes. And that's not something that I'm accustomed to or like doing, but it's a necessity.
Yeah.
It really is. You'll never know who you're going to run into and what they can bring to the table for you. Or, just you can run into mentors, you can run into funding. I've met, venture capitalists that way just by butting into a conversation I wasn't invited to. So don't be afraid to make yourself uncomfortable.
Yeah, definitely stepping out of your comfort zone. And I know I had to do that. And I remember talking to a college friend, even about doing Facebook Live. It scared me to death. Really. But I tell you, having done it, I've gotten so many connections just from doing it and gotten clients from doing it, right? So can't be afraid to step out of your comfort zone. Anyone else, anything to add in terms of what advice you would give?
I have an expectation and I have the advice. The expectation, we've heard this evening that the Lord has planted something before us all to move forward in what we're doing. If the Lord has planted something and given you something, expect opposition from the enemy. That's all. Expect opposition. When things start going wrong, just think of it. Expect it to happen. When you expect certain opposition, it becomes a little bit more palatable.
Yeah.
A little more palatable. Secondly, when it comes to challenges, disappointments, frustrations, and hindrances, learn to steward them well. Just like your pain, learn to steward and manage your pain well and grow from it. Don't let it become something that debilitates you. Let it be something that you platform from. So therefore, because it's going to come anyway. So what you do with it is critical. So you'll hear the term stewarding money in church, but steward everything you're going through, the frustrations and your pain well, and you will succeed.
Thank you, Jeff. Anyone else?
Jeff,
Just to piggyback on.
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
I was just going to say, just to piggyback on what Jeff's saying and saying it probably a different way, that you're going to hit all of those blocks. But if you truly not just say that you trust and believe, but you truly trust and believe, and you lean on those triple shields of grace, faith, and mercy, you will know that it's going to be okay. Like, I hate to spoil the ending, but it's going to be okay. And if you really, truly believe in that, then can't nobody stop you. Because a lot of people walk around saying, oh, yes, I believe in it. God just got my back, da, 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 da. But then they don't. They like give up and walk away. When you walk away, it's a choice. It doesn't mean you've given up. You find it a different way. But you have to truly trust and believe, but not just say that you do. And if you do, you know that no matter what is thrown your way, you got this. It's going to be okay. Just get over it. Just get over it, because it's going to be okay.
And that's her tagline, y'all. How many books you got?
I have 15.
15 books. Yes. 15 books.
Wow. Just get over it.
Anything to add? Anything more? Anything different to add?
Yeah, I do want to add something different on the whole, what would I do different? I'm just real. You need to learn your numbers early. And I didn't do that early enough because I was scared to learn them. So I would say anybody that's really dealing with finances, learning QuickBooks, do your own accounting, hire accountant, whatever you want to do, but learn your numbers early, because numbers is what make and break your business. It's heart and it's passion and it's just perseverance and it's everything we're talking about. But if the cash flow ain't there, you don't have a business. So I would say that's what I would do, have done early, and really not being scared to step out of comfort zone and learning something you're not comfortable with. But that's the number one thing you have to get comfortable with, your numbers.
Anyone else? with this question? And if not, I'm gonna go to the last question. And I want you guys to talk about what you got going for 2021. Time to pump yourselves up. What are you doing for 2021? What you got planned? Allison.
Let's see. I'm sorry. I'm trying to find that unmute button. What are we doing? We are moving to a studio. Yeah, everybody knows it. A studio. I have 2 employees and then another designer who I work with, and we are changing our business model a little bit and going from a full service brick and mortar, because I'm spent and done and everything else COVID, to just moving to a studio. And then about a year ago, I went back to work for state government full time. Here's why, and I would advise everybody to. When you have a business, you're making money, but a lot of the money you're making is going back into a business. So I would tell everybody, please save as much as you can. It's hard when you have to put it in. So I got a job offer about a year ago and I went back to work state government. Thank God I did, because I'm able to rebuild pension and 401k, because I know a lot of a lot of boutique circles, and a lot of men and women own boutiques. We go to Atlanta, we go to Market, we go to New York, all this stuff. You go to Market, you meet a lot of people. They'll have their store 20 years, 30 years, 40 years, 50 years, and they have nothing to show for it when you retire. So I would just say to people, you really have to, if you're making $10, maybe try to put 5 in the business, or 5 for you, and that might not be realistic. 8 in the business and 2 for you. You've got to save your money. And I think that's something too, because it's wonderful to have these businesses and to be excited. But if you don't have health insurance, and God forbid, we all have a catastrophe of an illness, and you had nothing to save, and you can't always rely on, your spouse or whatever, find a way to save money so you're not stuck. And we don't know if Social Security is going to be there when we all get older. We don't know that. So be building up your 401k and pension, but it is very challenging. But a lot of people will tell you to take a percentage of each piece of revenue and sales, particularly in the boutique world. They teach us, take a percentage, save, pay your bills and your revenue, and really try to think about yourself in long term, because we're not getting any younger, we're going the other way. So pretty much that's what I'm doing, really trying to think through what I need to do. So one day, if I do give up the business, sell it, whatever, or decide to do something new, I don't have anything financial other than wonderful memories, wonderful customers to show for it.
Yeah.
I kind of got off a little bit track, but that's just important and you guys are smarter than me. Everybody here on this panel knows way more than me, but really think about saving long term.
Yeah. Well, the one thing you learned too, and I think Daryl did too, was the importance of pivoting, especially, during times of COVID, which was totally unexpected. I think everybody had to go back. The coaching world also took a swirl, because everybody was used to going in and meeting with people face to face, and now all the things that we're doing is online, right? Mm-hmm. So, okay, Mindy and Angela, what you got going on 2021? And I know you don't want to spill all your beans, but what you got going on?
Mindy? So for me, it's just, I just want to grow spiritually and, focus on that. That has been where I've been. I got laid off early this year due to COVID. Allison, to your point. And so lost benefits, but I've been blessed due to relationship building. I have 2 or 3 opportunities now that I'm working with. So putting all those together to take care of myself and save at the same time. And just kind of want to stay on that path. But Mindy, you want to share our other fantastic news?
What? Give a little bit something, Mindy.
Well, we were contacted by somebody who is a producer and a writer of some really awesome series that everybody has seen. And he actually wants to try to turn the documentary into a series. So that is what we are working on right now. We're very, very excited about that. It's very, very fresh. That's really all I can say about it. So you guys, pray for us and pray for the project, because we really want to shed a light on the story of the African American male. We want to tell it in excellence, and we want to show the strength and
Oh, Mindy, you're breaking up.
Going on right now. And we also want to still work locally with our community to bring conferences and workshops to help young African American men overcome obstacles. So that's what we have going on.
Yeah. And Manny, you talked a little bit about what you got going on, but what else?
Oh man, so hopefully I get this part on this TV series. So I'll be really excited about that.
I was thinking that when you said you were an actor.
And
See
if
how
I don't,
God works it all out.
I couldn't hear you, but if I don't, I want to be in Angela's and Mindy's Fuller. I want to audition for this.
Hey, Daryl, we are going to be choosing characters for those roles eventually.
Okay.
And so we need to make sure we're in contact.
Hey,
Okay.
it's all about the connection, y'all.
Yeah.
Hey,
I got Daryl's number. I'm sorry. I'm about to call you something else. I got Daryl's number. All right.
you got my number. Yeah. So definitely let me know about that. But for the Golf Academy itself, we were just continuously growing. Like I said, we went from 150 kids. Now we're growing. So I'm actually making phone calls and making connections in the school system. We're pretty much the only show in town when it comes to that. So I'm booked throughout the week with private lessons. I got clients coming all the way from Sanford, Greensboro, Durham, and I meet them and I give them private lessons. And of course, with the kids, I do that as well. And we have group sessions every Saturday here at the factory in Wake Forest, and that continues to grow until we go back outside. We have our annual golf tournament, which is going to be June 12th. So we're working on some sponsors. Last year we had Mercedes-Benz, one of our title sponsors, all the way down to Leaf Nissan. Because my background is I used to work with Radio 1, so that's another thing, using my talents to go out and get what I need for my own business. So that's what we got going on next year. And the Swing and Sips events that we have going on. I'm his event planner as well. I pretty much do anything and everything if need be.
Thank you, Daryl.
I'm sorry, Daryl, when did you work for Radio 1? I used to work for them.
Yes, I worked for Radio 1 in 2006 to
Okay. Yeah, I was way gone by then. Okay.
Yeah, I was account exec for them. So I used to go out and get the sponsorships for what was there? Lamp lighters and what's the other big one? Women's empowerment. So I worked for K97.5 in the Light and Foxy 104.3. So
I did the traffic for them.
We're doing some network. We're doing some network.
Yeah.
Never know. We got a book writer. We got a movie producer. We got a man of God who's going to pray for us. Rochelle, what you got going on? 2021.
Well, I've done a lot of pivoting during COVID, and I have joined a rural hospital association. So I'm actually trying to, because I've been conflicted about working during COVID. You know, a lot of people are being laid off, and I've been blessed to work and to grow. You know, not just stay stagnant. So one of the things for me that's really big is doing rural health, because that's where I think I could be more advantageous in helping them bring doctors and nurses to the community. So I'm going to be bidding on something with them, and prayerfully I'll get it. The other thing that I really want to do, and I've been talking about for a year, is I want to do a 5K run for Parkinson's. I want to sponsor it, I want to host it, and I want people to participate, because we all have a friend that we know who has Parkinson's, and he's not, I don't think he's 40. So that really touches home for me. So I want to I want to grow, but I also
Who
want to
did I
give
miss?
back.
Ty and Adair. What you got going on, Ty?
So a couple of things. So as everyone, one of my startups was affected by COVID. My Space and Time one, which is, the one for helping retailers or helping restaurateurs rent their downtime. But the light at the end of the tunnel, or the silver lining in that, is because of COVID and because of them losing so much money because of COVID, there's a renewed and an increased interest in utilizing their downtime or monetizing their downtime. So I was actually approached by a VC out of Durham today that wants to have some conversations around that. And as far as definitely, my outdoor entertainment, my plan for 2021 is to actually do or get the equipment to do drive-ins, pop-up drive-ins. So
I was about to say that. I mean,
that?
Wow, that's amazing.
We'll talk.
That is amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that's my plan. Actually, I went to a craft share show the other day, and this guy that owns a food truck just walked up to me and he was like, "Hey, can you help me do drive-ins in, I don't remember what county, but he wants to do pop-up drive-ins there." And he was like, "I got relationships with 5 other food trucks. We could bring them." So it could turn into a big thing, but that's my plan for 2021.
I see a networking Zoom that we all may be on soon. Dr. Adea.
So I'm excited. I have a couple of interests going on. Right now, we're in the pre-launch phase for I offer group classes to teach people the writing and publishing part of the book. And they don't have to spend $500 million like some people out there want them to spend. But we're in the pre-launch phase. We're going to start up the next class. We just finished one last month, and the next class starts in January, the end of January, but I'm excited because I have a team. COVID was good to me because everybody was home ready to write a book and looking to see how to get it done. So we have been slammed and blessed. So we're continuing that. I was able to craft a good team that's a good fit. And so we're working on that. But the other thing I'm excited about is my planner. So I have, this is the 3rd version. Well, this is actually the 1st version. The 3rd version is coming out. It is an empowerment devotional calendar, planner, journal. There really is nothing else like this on the market. Black Girl Magic. And it focuses in it. It has motivational messages. It has scripture. It has quotes. It has all of those things as well as being a plan. Michelle, you have one, right?
I sure did order mine. Yep.
Okay. But what's even better is that even though it's going into production now, we have over 100 pre-orders, and we're really going full, whatever the word is, in the promos. But next summer, we are in strong talks with one of the largest African-American card companies, African-American Expressions. You might be familiar with them. They are very interested in publishing it for us beginning next summer. They have to do things way in advance. So we kind of missed, this January. But when they saw it, they were like, "Oh my God." I sent them the one from this one, and we have another one that came out in the summer. So I'm just excited because this is a labor of love. I even asked him for some scripture, and he sent them over to me because I didn't feel like reading the whole Bible to pick out a I said, "Jeff, you need to pick some scriptures out for me," and as long as it was a good fit. So basically the planner is rolling out, and then our course is rolling out, and I have a team, and we just moving along. We getting this thing going, and African-American Expressions pick up the planner, and we're going to be good because we're going international. We're going global. When they pick it up,
I know that's right.
All I got to do is post. I don't have to do anything. So yes. So that's what I have going on for 2021.
Thank you, Dad. I'm going to speak next because I've asked my brother Jeff. Jeff and I have known each other 37 years. I'm going to ask him to speak last. But my plans for 2021, first of all, I never even thought that I would be doing workshops, y'all. That wasn't even in my mindset. But I have my first workshop in 3 weeks, and I have plans for workshops next year. And really just taking it up a notch. I mean, clients have come to me, and I've been blessed because I've had referrals by so many people. So, like I said, this has gone beyond my imagination. I'm getting emotional, but beyond my imagination. So, Jeff, I'm going to ask you to speak and pray for this group, if you don't mind.
No problem. What I have going on is I was recommended and accepted into the Advent Health Clinical Pastoral Education Program, chaplaincy program. Again, that was not a dream of mine. It just happened. And I've learned to, if it's put in front of my way and that door's open, I better walk through it. So that's what I'm doing right now. There are a lot of hopelessness in hospitals, even before COVID. And I want to be able to just give someone a glimmer of hope, to let them know just to hang on for one more day, and I'm just happy about that. And I just want to give kudos to Michelle for a couple of reasons. every Sunday she's gathered us together. The Brooklyn, not the Brooklyn, we're all from Brooklyn, but from the Buffalo Alumni Association to get together around the COVID, when COVID first came, to just lift each other up, and it blossomed into something that we couldn't even we still can't wrap our mind around. And that's, I would like to believe, one of the reasons why we're here now is because of that as well. Something was planted in Michelle. She answered the call. She allowed it to germinate within her, and souls are being touched. I hear from everyone on this line, everyone on this call, whatever they're doing, they are accepting the call to be used as a portal to touch others. No one is focusing on their own success. They want to touch others. And I can see with my spiritual imagination, seeing God saying, well done, my good and faithful servants. So in saying that, let's go to the throne of grace. Father, how awesome, how perfect, how magnificent, how loving, how wonderful you are, Lord. Father God, we can't quite find a superlative to express how we feel about you. We can't even wrap our mind around one of your thoughts, Father God, because you're so sovereign. So thank you for calling us your children. Thank you for the privilege of us calling you Father. We thank you for being so sovereign that everything that's over our head is still under your feet. And you are in our tomorrows yesterday. So, Father God, I thank you for each heart on this phone, Father God, on this call, Father God. Father God, the fact is your name is celebrated tonight. Your name is lifted up tonight through the work of our hands and the desires of our heart, Father God. Father God, continue to protect us, lead and guide us. Protect us from hurt, harm, danger, virus, or disease, Father God. Please insulate us from the onslaughts of the enemy. And if they must come, Father God, let us know you are with us so we can withstand those and laugh in the face of the enemy, Lord. I plead the blood of Jesus over every family represented on this line, every marriage represented on this line, every job and profession and business represented on this line, Father God. Plead the blood of Jesus over our sanity, over our health, over our finances, over the work of our hands, the desires of our heart, and our relationships, Lord. Father God, turn us into something that you want us to be. Transform us into things that we can't even fathom, Lord, for your glory and for our good. Now, as we depart, Lord, let us be made different now, Lord. Let us be transformed and turned into something so recognizable that someone comes up and asks us, why are you the way you are, giving us the opportunity to share our faith, Lord. And for those who don't know you, draw them to you. And for those who do know you, to become better disciples instead of just mere Christians, Father. So, Father God, I can go on all day, Lord. In fact, we can go on all day just saying thank you. With 10,000 tongues still wouldn't be enough. But we want to just pause and say thank you. So, Father God, as we go down tonight, we just want to say, as I said, thank you. It's in the matchless, it's in the marvelous, in the muscular name of Jesus Christ. And we pray and thank you. And we look forward to those new testimonies to come. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen. Thank you, guys. I love you all. I'm going to put you guys in the green room as I close out, but I really do appreciate each and every one of you. I told you guys my friends were going to bring it. They have been a part of my life, many of them for, as I mentioned, over 30 years. And I've just been truly blessed by them. So what do I want to leave you with? So one, hopefully something that you heard this evening will inspire you to move forward with your own dreams. And my hope is that you are willing and ready to transform, your dreams into reality. And I have several options for you to help you with. So one, I am actually having a 2-day workshop in December, A Dream Fulfilled, Transforming Your Vision into Action. And tickets can be purchased via Eventbrite. If you go to my Facebook page, I'll make sure I post it, but you can get tickets there. Actually, you can find a link to get tickets there. I'm actually going to give away a ticket. One of my friends actually donated a ticket, and I'm going to do a spinoff tomorrow. Those of you who have commented during this live stream will be placed into that raffle. And anyone who likes my page today will also be put in the raffle, and I'll announce the winner tomorrow. But it's a 2-day workshop, a Friday night where we're talking about vision, putting it on paper and digital platform. And the second night, it is about planning. And you heard tonight, you got to put plans into action. You got to put plans forward so that you can start moving forward. So we'll be doing that. I really wish everyone a happy and safe Thanksgiving. I know this is going to be different from a lot of people. A lot of us are not going to be able to be with our families, but I ask that you be safe. I'm actually dedicating this episode to my big sister, Tawanda, who had to have surgery today. And she has served as a role model for me as a coach. And she was supposed to be on this episode. Tawanda, I love you. Everyone, be good and be safe. Thank you.